Wow, a very good morning this beautiful 25th day of September 2025, a day that we are here on Relationship Clinic discussing matters relationship. And today we'll be delving into a topic which is a bit sensitive, but also very important to be discussed right now. This is the opportune time to actually be discussing this topic, a topic that makes very many adults uncomfortable. You know, it pushes them and make them feel, no, I don't think I want to be in this space. I don't think I want to have this discussion. And it is about the youth and sex. It is not a topic that we are not here to judge. We're not here to shame. We are here just to educate each other, to learn from each other. What are your views? What is your feedback? What are the questions that probably you may have when it comes to youth and sex? So you can do that by sending in your feedback on 20316, which is our SMS line, 0786-316-316, that is our WhatsApp line, and be part of this conversation where I'm joined by a young lady, a university student, who will be helping us unpack this, as well as a reverend who is also an author, a youth mentor, and he'll be also here to guide us and mentor, you online. What a blessing, what a privilege. So karibuni sana, also my guest.
Thank you.
Very good to have you. I'm excited to be having this conversation with the two of you. And so first things first, we'll start by introducing ourselves. Grace, I'll start with you.
Okay, I'll first say thank you for the welcome.
Yeah.
And I'm Grace Mombi. I'm from KU. I'm a student, there, a fourth-year student at Kenyatta University.
Okay.
And I'm also serving as the vice chair to the Christian Union.
Wow.
And yes, I thank the Lord for this opportunity to be here.
Wonderful. Karibu sana, Grace, and thank you. You are here. She was here early. Wow. Thank you so much for that. Okay, he is not near. Rev Karibu sana, introduce yourself.
Yeah, Santi, thank you so much, Sally. I'm glad to be back at Family Media.
Yes.
My name is Reverend Devenjero, the lead pastor of Transformation Ministries, Road Treasure Church.
Right.
Here in Nairobi. Apart from that, I run a program called School of Excellence, whereby we teach everybody and anyone about how they can be able to know their purpose, live that purpose, and after leaving this world, leave a legacy. And I'm also an author, and most importantly, I do youth mentorship and an inspirational speaker. Thank you so much.
And I love it that you just said you're a youth mentor. That means you deal with the youth a lot.
Yes, I do.
You are an author. You've written a book.
Yes.
Many books, actually.
Yes, quite a number of them. Yes.
The latest one, what is it about? And because I know it's about the youth.
Yes.
Can you please just briefly?
Yes, the latest one, which is just a few months old, is actually Naked Truth About Sex. And as you rightly said, this is a subject that most of the people frown when it is even mentioned.
Yeah.
And they don't even want to mention it. And even those who normally discuss it, it's in hushed tones.
Right.
And that they don't want to be heard. But I would like to say that this is a subject like any other, but it must be taught in a proper manner. Right. If it is maybe somebody who is not yet a teen, teach them at their own level. But even because now, if we don't teach them, if you don't teach the youth, then they will go in online.
Absolutely.
There is all kinds of tools that you can be able to get some information and complete with graphics.
Okay.
And of course, now we need to hear them, to tell them so that somebody hears about it and then makes an informed decision about this all-important subject about sex.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why did you, why sex really and the youth? What really inspired you to write that? Is it from personal experiences? Is it from what you've heard from the youth? What's the vacuum?
Well, basically, I had done a research on this particular subject. And I realized it is a big vacuum, whereby it is not taught. Even those who speak about it, they don't really dive into it and get into the root of it.
Yeah.
So somebody just rushes over it, so that it is not really complete. But of course, it's not necessarily about the youth, but it is about knowledge, because knowledge is power.
Okay.
I am also a trained counselor. I do a lot of counseling, and you find that most of the issues in life, actually, even for those who are already in marriage, they actually, the root is actually sex. Because, and also we find that it is one of the things that actually God created from the beginning. And there's a lot of controversy about it. And even the secular musicians, the most sung theme in music is actually sex. And, the glorification of it. and of course in the wrong manner. So I was just bringing something that it can be a point of reference, it can be a kind of a personal study, it can be a group study, and something that can be able to inform so that someone can know where he is or where she is.
Okay, all right. Grace, I may want to bring you into the conversation right now. In terms, as a youth, do you think or feel there are a lot of misinformation, disinformation when it comes to this particular topic, you know, sex, and you guys, your demographic, you know, numbers and space? Do you think there's a lot of misinformation, and even how the youth are engaging in it?
Yes, I'd say there is a lot of misinformation because most of the places where we get information about sex is on the social media platforms, and most of the information that is there, everyone has their own agenda they want to bring about. So they bring the information how it is going to benefit them and not how it is going to benefit us. And also when it comes to the aspect of the church, also the information has not been well released to us as the youth. So there is a lot of misinformation. Tunapata hapa, tunapata pale. So there is a lot of misinformation to us as the youth.
When you talk about agenda, what agenda do you think is behind this information that is being disseminated all over?
Number one, I'd say the agenda to corrupt the minds of the young people. Just as Pastor was saying, Reverend was saying concerning music, the main theme that is found in these songs is focused on sex, and we see the agenda is to just corrupt the young people, to corrupt their minds, and once their minds are corrupted, they are not going to reach their full potential and to do and become what God wanted them to be from the beginning.
I love that, what God wanted them to be, Reverend. And with that, she's talked about the church as a youth. That's what she feels. Do you think the church, parents, teachers have failed when it comes to just educating our young people, involving them in these conversations? Do you think there's a gap in there?
I would say yes, because I have been in the church space for quite a long time. And most often you'll find that the church has no deliberate program, you know, to have something what we call holistic programming in church. And most of the time you find there's only spiritual. But of course, as much as it is spiritual, as much as the Bible, I also use the Bible. And also when we have what we call like maybe a youth experience or maybe a youth seminar, it is just something that is dropped there. It comes like a by the way. It is not the main thing. But we see like now the book which I have now, it is something that is packaged in such a way that you can be able to walk through. It can be kind of a program. It can be a teaching. Actually, it was yesterday whereby I was speaking to one of principals of our school, and she has my book. And when she went with it home, the daughter, who is a university student, like just like Grace, she literally snatched the book from her hands. And they says, "Mom, you can't read this one before I read." So she went and read and read and read. Then also when she was reading, that's a story I was getting yesterday, that she was reading, another girl also snatched also from her. And they said, reading. And then later on, she said, I thought this was about the styles of sex that were in this book. And basically, you see, that is curiosity. That's curiosity, and I believe that there was something that she got out of that. Now, that also tells us that there is a lot of gaps, including the church, and that they have not really put up some programming. That is why I brought this book, whereby the churches can be able to have it and have a very deliberate programming. I was in Ethiopia some time back this year. I'm still going back there again. And one of the things that happened there in the Ethiopian church, I had a group of the youth there, and then I asked them, what is the real problem in your life? Then most of this was actually coming about this particular issue of sex. And they also said, we are going to translate this book into Amharic, whereby it can be used by the Ethiopian church. Now, if I am in Kenya here and the book, somebody is waiting for the book to translate it so that it can be useful, then you can see there's a major gap.
There is.
And you see now, and you see people coming from outside there from the world and they're coming to the church, they need proper information and proper guidance.
Okay.
And one of the areas that we have actually filled as a church, it is to come up with the proper programming to train the youth and also as you know, as the young people grow and also in families and you know, show them this is the right way to do, this is the right way to go.
All right, great. Grace, as Pastor speaks about parents and church and all that, for you from home, what kind of conversation have you had with your parents, or would you have desired to have with your parents when it comes to matter sex? Or where was the first time you even had about this kind of conversation?
Okay, at home, we've never had a conversation on sex. I've never had that word being mentioned at my home. Never.
Taboo. Going there.
Even if an image or a video would pop up in the TV where someone is kissing, immediately after a few seconds it would be changed. And so that is a topic I got to learn of from my brother and my cousins.
Okay.
And it was not in the best way. It was not in the best way.
Okay.
That I can say if it were not for the grace of God, I think I could not be where I am right now.
Oh, wow. Look at that. And I think, Reverend, she's speaking for a lot of young people, really. But before we get deeper into that, and also for Rev to respond probably to what you've just talked about, we may want to go and we may want to just have a view or listen to what some Kenyans had to say about this exact topic, youth and sex. Let's take a look.
All right.
Misinformation is my worst. Yeah, because if you don't give the information, you are failing, like you are failing the entire generation. If they lack that information, that's the worst part of it. Yes, you are failing them. Yeah, you are raising a very as not only silent, but at the long run, they meet an abuse. Yeah, they are being abused.
I think misinformation is worse because, okay, when you say silence, there's that social pressure of, you know, there's things that are not acceptable to talk about, which I get. There are things you can learn on your own without being taught expressively by your teachers or parents. But misinformation, when you're given the wrong information about something, you head there, something goes wrong, and all of a sudden you start blaming what you were told or something, you know. You don't have anyone to blame, or rather you are confident about the wrong things. That's way worse than not knowing about it.
I feel the silence is worse because silence is what is causing misinformation, because people are not talking about it, so anything that is said is just taken as true. Well, if it was a topic for discussion, like the facts would be there, facts would be known, and then it would be easier.
I think misinformed people about sex are also silent. They're also silent in that there are people who hold wrong views about sex and they are ignorant. I think ignorance is a bliss. Like, you're ignorant and you're also misinformed. That's why you are also silent.
Misinformation is not right, and silence is also not right. The right thing is information. These young people, and not only the youth, even the teenagers, they should be aware about sex because they must be exposed in one way or another. And they need to be knowledgeable enough so that they can be able to follow the right measures.
In the age that we live in, it's all about technology. It would be so bad of us to ignore the social aspect, the social media part, and not communicate or use that media as a media to communicate the truth. So silence about it is much worse than misinformation.
There we have it, Reverend. And actually, I think it marries into what Grace was talking about before we went out there to speak to Kenyans to watch that. Because she says at home, there was silence.
Yes.
There was no information, lack of it, right? So for you, from where you sit and the experience that you have, is silence worse than misinformation, or is it both? And even we've heard what the young people have just said.
Well, I can see, okay, there are two bad things.
Right.
One is more, I wouldn't say one is worse than the other.
Yeah.
Because when there's silence, there is misinformation.
Right.
Because there's no information. And then if there is silence, somebody might want to go out there and get some information. And then what we get there is misinformation.
Yes.
You know, Grace just mentioned about, you know, there was silence at home.
Yeah.
And then now there's a brother and a sister. And it was not probably even planned. Maybe it was accidental. But we see, if we are really bringing up children as parents, we should be able to do kind of you know, a parenting curriculum.
Okay.
So that we are able to say from this age to this age, this is what my child needs to be taught.
Yeah.
Because also we need to prepare them to meet the world. I also do premarital counseling, and we find that some of the information that come from the youth, and even surrounding sex, the subjects surrounding sex there, you find that there is a lot of knowledge they have, but not proper knowledge. It is because, as Grace mentioned rightly, it is that information that they got, somebody had an agenda. But we see now, we have come up, or I have come up with that tool that it can be used as a reference, whereby it can be, and it is something that you can be able to know, from here, I need to go to this place, and then move and get this information, you know, for my well-being in life. And I would actually say that we need mentors who are, you know, bringing up mentees in such a way that they are holistic. It is not one-sided.
Right.
And also, again, you know, like you know, the generation that we have, well, they have information, they have knowledge.
Yeah.
But then there is also a place of wisdom, because there are some who went ahead. And they can be able to guide you through.
Yes.
Rather than running and then going, you know, I know it all. I also saw another young man trying to correct an elder. You know, a young man is about 22 years and trying to correct an elder who is about 60 years.
Yeah.
And saying, let me correct you. No, you cannot correct. You know, you can just have a conversation, a honest conversation. And also what is missing is a honest conversation.
Yes.
Because when you have a conversation, it's not a do or a don't. No, it is just a matter of reasoning and getting the real thing.
All right. You know, with the youth, I know there's a lot of peer pressure, you know, in campus, from your friends and everything. Does that happen in campus, first and foremost, peer pressure when it comes to sex? And what is it about? Is it about, when you're indulging in that and that peer pressure, is it about fame? Is it about belonging? What is it, and have you experienced it? I think I've asked you so many questions. So one, the peer pressure, is it there? What is it about? Okay. And have you experienced it yourself?
Okay, the peer pressure is there, especially in circles around the classroom.
Okay.
The peer pressure is there. I'd say it is on belonging, helping the young people like feel as if they belong, and also to have something to speak when you go to those spaces that you also experienced.
Yeah, that you're mature.
Yes, that you're mature, you have done it, and this is how it happens, to find a place where you belong, and also to just have that feeling that, yeah, I've done it also. I'm not left out. I'm not left out. And because most people are doing it, it now looks like it is the thing that should be done. It now looks like it is the truth now. This is what should be done. So everyone wants to do it.
Okay.
And whether I've experienced it, I wouldn't say much. Because my circle, most of my circle is in the church, in the Christian Union, so I've not experienced it that much. Maybe when I was in high school, that in campus, personally, I've not experienced it that much.
Okay.
Yes.
But if you found someone who's pushing you to that or urging you to do it, how would you handle that?
How would I handle that? I think from my own values and what I believe in the word of God in Corinthians 6, that my body is the temple of the Holy Spirit.
Absolutely.
Walking with it, and also not relying on my own strength, but also relying that God is going to help me, because currently I'm dating. So that is a temptation that can come in between, but relying that God is going to help even in the journey.
Wow.
Yes.
I love that you spoke about your body as a temple of God, because actually that's the first chapter that Rev, in your book, Naked Truth About Sex.
Yes.
That's the first chapter, Rev.
Yes, that's the first chapter.
Temple of God. Speak to that a bit.
Well, because number one, she mentioned about being a Christian, and there's a lot of pressure. And of course, with the youth or with the teens, you want to be like so and so.
Right.
You want to belong to that circle. But of course, we need to understand that we must have some boundaries, and we must also know that as much as it is spoken by others, as much as the majority say that we are speaking about this, it doesn't make it right. And in fact, you need to also to understand that you are unique, you are different, and you are one of a kind. So in fact, when you are unique, when you are different, when you don't fit into that misfit, then you can be able to know that you are one of a kind. You are a brand, and you are not just a commodity. Now, speaking about the very first chapter of my book, Your Naked Truth About Sex here, your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit, because that is exactly who we are. Number one, those who are born again, Christians, they are believers, and it is their bodies carry the spirit which has been rejuvenated. So your body, which is the temple of the Holy Spirit, then what you need to do with your body is to honor God with your body. Somebody, I was in a youth mentorship program, and there was a girl there who was 19 years old. And of course, I said, if you're not able to raise up your hand and ask this question, please write down, and then I'll be able to read. We don't even write your name. And then she asked, people tell me, that is how she framed the question. People tell me that now I'm 19 and I'm a virgin. When I get into marriage, I will have problems. And it was like, okay. Then the first thing is people tell. So that means they're having a discussion out there about sex. Then number two, she has some kind of information which has not been verified, but she got a safe space to speak about this. Then of course I answered and said, of course that is people who are saying, but the truth is, when you are ready, will be ready for for marriage, then you go through some premarital counseling, and of course that is not the case. Why? Because you'll be taken through some stages. Now, when the body is honoring God, then God also is glorified. It is actually Paul who is telling us in Romans chapter 12 and from verse number 1. I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies as a living sacrifice. And you see the sacrifice that was used to be sacrificed during the Old Testament, they were dead sacrifices. So this time it is a living sacrifice. And the danger of a living sacrifice, including us now, you can get out of the altar of God. So you can crawl out of the altar. So you have to present yourself. It is deliberate. It is something that you can say no, and you see no is a complete sentence. No is a complete instruction. So when you say no, it doesn't mean that you are different.
And Rev, I think still on the temple of God, or if it's not that, then even the dress, we are going to go into that. The dress code and all that. But before then, there's someone who is saying here, good morning, Sally, enjoying family matters. Can sexual choices made in youth shape or even sabotage how people approach relationships and marriage later in life? But before you respond to this, I may want for us to just listen into something on, relationships, marriage, and all that. Then you can respond to this. Kind of my director can just put that for us on air.
Marriage is a beautiful, beautiful space to be in, but I can tell you for a fact, it takes a lot of grace, it takes a lot of intentionality, it takes God to just submit yourself, submit who you are, submit what you want to Him. Because with my experience, for now, this is our 12th year of marriage, but I can tell you in our first year of marriage, life was turbulent for me because I got there with this idea of, first of all, what would you not tell me that I don't know? Because I know everything. I know what I want. I've grown up with in a stable family, so I get all these things. And then you get into a space of marriage and you realize that, wow, it's not really about what you know, but it's more of what you've surrendered and what you surrender constantly, each and every day. And it's not about your ego. It's not about what I want. It's about who I want God to be in this particular relationship. And I can tell you, by the way, it was very hard for me. So marriages, they face challenges. Challenges will be there. Though there was a time where after that I'm facing miscarriages, and it's not just one, it's not two, it's three, it's four. And I was asking the Lord, now again, here I am from a turbulent space. Now we are having kids, we are not able to sustain pregnancies just because of this. What exactly are you teaching me? And it was at that point where I just let go and let God to just have his way. And I just surrendered. If you want to grow in who you are, then marriage is that space where it will force you to grow and come out of your skin and just live out the purpose that God wants you to have in that place where he wants you to be. So I'm encouraging every couple out there. If you're a lady who is in my space, who is currently in the space that I was in that time, surrender it to God. Let it be. Submit to that leadership that God has given you. Submission is not being a doormat. Submission is a space where God knows that in your soft power, you're able to be that atmosphere that causes change in your home. And that is what God calls us to be as women. God is not calling us to be these antagonistic women in our marriages. No, God is calling us to channel our femininity in a way that amplifies who God is, in a way that amplifies the masculinity that God has placed in our marriages, in a way that in our husbands, in a way that God amplifies who our children we want to bring them out to be. So I call on to each and every woman out there, if you are in that space that I was in, just submit unto the Lord and live and put your shoes right. You don't need to fight your hubby. You don't need to cause or force change in him, but you can be a catalyst of change in that marriage that God wants you to have. And God bless you.
Wow, those are the Munenes. A beautiful, beautiful love story. Yeah. Beautiful marriage right there, despite the many challenges that they've been through, Rev. Yeah, and we've had Mary speaking about, surrendering. There's so much about that, and then connecting that into probably the question: can sexual choices made in youth shape or even sabotage how people approach relationships and marriage later in life? I don't know how we can connect the two: the surrendering, and also the choices we make. As youth, for example, when it comes to sex, is there a connection?
Yes, there is a very big connection there. Yeah. Because the question this viewer has asked about is the choices made in the youth about sex, and you'll find that it's when you make a negative choice when you're youth, it means that you have surrendered your choice. Yes. And this choice is surrendered in the negative. Okay. It is because now you want to fit, like what now Grace just mentioned. Right. You want to fit in that particular group. Because the fact that everybody else is doing it doesn't mean it is right. But you can be an ambassador. One of my mentees is currently in Hong Kong. Okay. And she left this country here, and have worked with her for many years. And there has been a lot of pressure. She's in her early 40s right now. Okay. And she's not yet married. And then there's a lot of pressure also for her, to just kuanguka na yote anguka nayo. But then because she said, I am different, I want to leave a legacy. So even out there, she's an ambassador. Yeah. And she says, I've not done this. There's another lady, in Facebook, is called Anointed. And she also says that she has come out very openly saying that I'm a virgin at 28. And so that's a choice that she made. And of course now she'll be, when she's in the marriage, she will say, I am wearing this badge as a badge of honor. I have not defiled my temple of the Holy Spirit. Okay. And then again, surrender when it comes to marriage, because now you have made a lot of choices to sleep with every Mary, every
Tom, Dick, and Harry.
Almost everybody. The plump ones, the short ones. The brown, the chocolate. Because now there's no satisfaction, because we are always looking for something else. As much as men are hunters, but then how many will you be able to hunt? Look at Solomon. He had 700 wives, right? 300 concubines. How many was he satisfied? He was not. At the end of it, it's vanity of vanities. So the choice that you make when you are young, will actually affect you, because now you are looking for that particular experience that you had with Mary.
Okay.
And then Nelly here is not giving you the same experience. You had an experience with John. Then here there's James. Now you find you are divided. So you cannot really enjoy. Then that is why the quarreling comes in, and then it says, let me go and look for my somebody who fits my experience.
Right.
So it is very, very important for us to do or choose the right thing when we are youth.
Fantastic. And there's something we had talked about earlier, and it sounded like a taboo when you said your parents at home. Even for me, it was like almost a taboo, actually a taboo. Then how can we move from that, from your point of view as a youth, without shaming people who are probably even addicted to explicit material? How can we handle that without shaming people, or how the youth want to be handled?
I'd use Percy's words, as he was saying, concerning having programs, either in church, maybe in our schools also,
right,
where we bring the young people and they speak about it. We can use such a material.
Fantastic, yeah.
Yes, and we engage in these conversations. Of course, at home it might not be easy because the parent will be like, where am I going to start? Where am I going to start explaining?
Yeah.
But in a place like a church, in a school, it's a bit structured. There are systems. So it is easy to incorporate such a program, and it is going to work out easily.
Okay.
So incorporating such programs in our schools, in our churches, in different organizations, that work with the young people.
Okay.
Yeah, incorporating such programs and bringing together the young people, utilizing the social media platforms.
Positively,
yes, as you are doing right now as Family TV. Yes, it is going to help out a lot.
Okay. In the CU, because you said you're a leader in the CU.
Yes.
How do you handle this topic with your peers then?
Okay. So for it, honestly speaking, we have sessions on dating and marriage, where we bring about the ladies and the gents.
Okay.
But most of the times, the topic on sex is one of the subtopics in that entire discussion. Yeah, it's one of the subtopics. We have not had it as a main topic or something that is just focus, on its own. Yes, we have not had it that way, but it's something to consider also as a union. And speaking also to other universities, it's something to consider. It's a very important.
It is. It is indeed. Okay, back to the socials. I'm seeing a lot of reactions here. Someone is saying, good morning. How can I get the book, Naked Truth About Sex, Nick Otuma? Nick, I think, will be able to share your, Reverend contact with you. And then someone else is saying, that's foreign cultural. When the youth have sexual knowledge in early years, they will attempt it prematurely. And any fruit tree at prematurely looks ripe, the wild birds will taste it. Barasa. Okay? Reverend, I want you to take that. What Barasa is saying, that it is not prudent to actually share this knowledge early in life.
Well, basically, they probably want to start and recommend Grace, for what she said, that they may want not to start trying on a structured program, dealing with this very all-important subject on sex, because it has, as I said from the beginning, even during my research, I realized that even those who speak about this, they don't do it comprehensively. They just touch here and there. And now this particular book is kind of a tool that can be used, even a reference material.
Right.
And now responding to Barasa's question, let me say that kuna msemo wa Kiswahili unasema kwamba samaki mkunje angali mbichi. So in other words, train a child from the early age, and when that child grows up, they will not be able now to go out and do what we would call experiment, because they already know. And of course, when there is this kind of a teaching in a home setup, we should be able to group the children, or maybe the family setup, and also address this subject according to age. Of course, we cannot start talking about now how babies are made, to a child with 6 years.
Exactly.
No. But tell them there is, they can even come and ask, how did this baby enter, your stomach? Explain them without being explicit. And then as they grow, and also when they ask them questions, answer correctly. correctly. That is the main thing. Correctly, and guide them. And in fact, if there is no teaching at home,
yes,
then the society out there is waiting for them. Actually, the best place to teach is actually home, even in school. Yes, it is true that even the teachers normally have our children, many hours of the day, but then we should not delegate the responsibility of teaching these children of ours how life is out there. Because if you don't teach them about sex and how they should be able to cover their private parts and nobody should touch them, and how they should hold it in reverence, then you will be able to address now a pregnancy. You will see a girl who is 12 years bringing a child at home. So where do we start? So it is better to have the knowledge coming from you as a parent rather than getting misinformation out there. Because out there is a lot of agenda. Even the world actually wants to corrupt, as Grace said from the beginning. So what they are getting from home, it is real. It is not watered down, and it is for good of this particular person.
Okay. There's this notion, or is it not even a notion? There's a culture of, and there's a common name called sponsors. Okay, I don't know what role money and the sponsors plays when it comes to, indulging in this kind of behavior, the sex, the explicit materials. What is the role of these two, money and the sponsor culture?
Money and sponsor culture. I'd say one, lack of contentment. There are those who, their parents, or they have the sponsorship maybe from the government. Let's say when you're in school and they can afford maybe the basic things, but they want to live in a life that they cannot afford, they cannot sustain. So the easy way out is to commercialize their body. It is the easy way out so that they can sustain what they cannot afford at the moment, because maybe they don't have the skills to start a business, or even if they start a business, still it won't sustain what they want, the life that they want. So that is one of the reasons that cause people to indulge in matters sponsors. And also now another one is on lack, complete lack, and find themselves in a places they are between a rock and a hard place. So the only choice they have is to just commercialize their body to get their basic needs. The other is also on peer pressure. They have seen their friends have, they have seen how their friends come in their rooms and talk about how they were taken in the 5-star hotels. They just want that experience and just come back with the story. So they indulge in it. So there are a number of reasons causing young people indulge in them.
Including poverty, like you've just said rightfully. Okay, Rev, I don't know if you want to add anything to that, but before then, let me read a comment from our good friend Douglas. Douglas says, "Good morning, this is Douglas. Say hi to Pastor David and Grace. Umepokea salamu." A question for a friend: how do you deal with broken roots that leads to fragile relationships in terms of past wounds, either from your family or people that you trusted and took advantage of you sexually? Reverend.
Well, starting from the sponsorship thing, the greatest sponsor is God himself, having faith in God. Because, and of course, without a test from God, there's no testimony. So you need to be authentic, you need to be real, and then you need to focus onto God because he's the provider, he's Jehovah Jireh. And because the same sponsor who is sponsoring you will also demand some favors. And of course, we have even had some very nasty things. So remain sober and focused. Now, the question about the broken roots, we would say that experience, all of us when we're in this world, we go through challenges, through issues. Psalm 34 in verse number 19 says that many are the afflictions of the righteous, but God delivers them or he from all of them. So whatever challenge you have gone through, the first thing is actually to acknowledge that I've failed in this particular place. And then the second thing is seek for genuine help. And when we seek for genuine help, then of course the wound may be healed, but the scar still remains. So let your scar be the star that I was this, but now I am this. And also be very intentional that you want to grow. You don't want to maybe find yourself in a place where we messed and then you just want to stay there. My previous book called "You Are Not a Failure," it means that at least you can move from here to another particular place. So keep on moving forward. Focus ahead.
Okay.
Get some peers, get some mentors, get somebody who is genuinely interested in your well-being.
Okay.
Be in a circle, be in a relationship whereby people value who you are, the way you are.
Okay.
Not looking at you and then judging you because of what you did. Now, like for example, if a prostitute comes to church and she's having a very, very short skirt there, will the pastor say, excuse me, let that person be thrown out of the church? No, let that person come the way she is. And of course explain this person is now in the house. Let us start, let somebody help her, grow. But if you tell her get out of church, then that is the end of it.
That's true.
Because I've also had some cases whereby there are some words which has been spoken by either by the leaders or or maybe the leaders or the pastor, and people leave the church, and up to now they are saying, I cannot trust church again.
Yeah.
Why? Because they were not handled carefully.
Okay. Yeah, we left church, but we did not leave God. I'm sure you've heard of that.
Yes, but actually
phrase.
it is a fallacy.
It is a fallacy. I know. Yeah. Grace,
Yes.
when we talk matters, talking to youth, our young people, do you think it's going to make them more responsible, or it will make them now more curious to want to know and even try?
I'd say it is going to make them more responsible because you're going to understand the dynamics that come about with you engaging in sex.
Okay.
You're going to have the clear information on, if I do this, there's this consequence.
Yeah.
And this is how it is supposed to be done. So it is going to help them to make good decisions.
Informed decisions.
Yes, informed
Okay.
decisions. And they are, so that when someone does it, they are going to know that hii nimefanya, najua kitu nafanya.
Exactly.
So it is not from a point of I'm trying out, I had, but they know. And also to the question that you had asked, Percy, I would want to add something.
Please do.
That's okay.
Yes.
When I was young, I don't know, I think for class 1, I think, class 2, I was sexually abused. I did not know even what happened to me. So later on in high school is when the memories of what happened came back. So it was very heavy on me. It affected me around my self-esteem and everything.
Right.
But the Lord took me through a process of me accepting him to heal me, submitting to him for him to heal me, and for me to accept to forgive this person, for him to work on me.
Okay.
So relying on God and allowing the Lord to work on you, it is painful. You remember everything like as if it just happened.
Right.
It is painful, but now as I am speaking, even if I have the memory, I'm not feeling pain at all. I'm not feeling any resentment.
Okay.
Because I cannot even explain what happened, but I can say that the Lord healed me, He helped me to forgive, and He worked on my heart. So anyone who is going through that or has gone through that, trust in the Lord. He is very faithful. He is able to heal. Yes.
And I'm so sorry about that experience.
It's okay.
Yeah,
just perhaps to add something about that, Grace.
Yes.
We just want, your name is Grace, and the Grace has been sufficient. Even my own mom was called Grace. And, some of these sexual abuses, they actually happen from family confines.
Yes.
And most of them are actually, trash they are put under the carpet. But we see again that memory, she's living the memory. It is good that you got healed. And you see, even if you remember, it doesn't bring you pain. But we see now that you also mentioned to us that you are dating. You see, that can also come into mind and say, okay, that experience was painful.
Yeah.
What about this I'm entering now? How will it be? So that is where we need a lot of proper pre-marital counseling, whereby to overcome this. And that's also I said you had, there was a wound. A wound has healed, and then you have a scar. But now use that scar as a star. To say that, well, I passed through this, and I see who I am. It's like wounded healers.
Wow. Fantastic. Yes. Time, the enemy every time, every other time. I think we have less than 5 minutes, but quickly I may want to get onto our social. Someone is saying, good morning, family. Thank you for the good work you're doing. How can I get the book by Pastor Njeru? So definitely we also reach out with that information. Then someone else says, hello, family. Kindly, I need your help. I need someone to talk to my son, Joseph, to stop smoking bang. Please help. And I think being a youth mentor, Rev, you can actually probably tackle that. There was another comment. Good morning, family. Thank you so much for this much needed conversation. As Christians, we tend to hide, and I think this will be our last as we wind up. Huh?
All right.
As Christians, we tend to hide our heads in the sand and act wholly above this topic, sex. I'm just wondering how a young person can be able to communicate their boundaries without the fear of losing a relationship. And I think it's important for both Rev and the young lady to respond to this. Are young people having sex out of curiosity, connection, or pressure? Thank you. Quickly, Grace, maybe you may take that, and then Rev can Rev can wind up. Time allowing, you can take another one. So, do you think young people now? No, how do you communicate as a young person your boundaries without fear of losing your relationship? Briefly.
I'd say calling the person and having a conversation.
Okay.
If they won't accept to what you believe in, then you cannot continue with that journey because it is a journey that you're taking.
Okay.
And if you're traveling to Mombasa and I'm traveling to Nakuru, we cannot go on the same bus or the same car. So it will have to end. It is painful, but if you're not traveling on the same direction,
yes,
yeah, it is better it ends.
Okay. Rev, briefly, if you can respond to that as we wind up.
Yes, we can actually say that it is better to break a relationship than to break a marriage.
Oh, wow.
It is better to break a relationship than to break a marriage. And of course, it also depends on how do you break.
Okay.
You know, nowadays, you know, the youth of today, they're very tech savvy. So just write a message, you know, somebody just wakes up and write a message, it is over. And then that's all. And then somebody is, of course, blocked from WhatsApp and all socials.
Yes.
But basically, it is good to also look, be what we call, have what we call emotional intelligence.
Okay.
Whereby I'm dealing with another emotion here. So let's have a conversation. Let's talk. Let's be friends,
yes,
even after breaking the relationship.
Yes.
And I really want to appreciate and thank you so much.
Thank you.
David Njero is my name. You can follow me on my socials, Facebook, David Njero Pastor, or at Njero Pastor in X. And then the rest we can be able to speak.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for winding up very fast. I think you're a pro here. Asanteni Sana, thank you for your time. Grace for making time. Reverend Njero, thank you so much for helping us unpack and understand this particular, topic. And to you, our viewer and listener, wherever you are, even live on YouTube, we want to say thank you so much for just being part of this conversation, for enabling us also to just be able to air all this and bring this to you live. This is because or through your partnership, and we want to say a very big thank you. If you want to be part of this, then you can also send you the word partner to 20316 SMS line or 0786 316 316, and that is WhatsApp line. Also, you can send your support on our pay bill number 316 316, and the account name is your telephone number. Also, for those who are with Cooperative Bank, you can send that through our Cooperative Bank account, which is 0113 6000 799100, and the account name is TBN Family Media. God bless you and keep you. See you again next week, Tuesday through to Thursday on Family Matters. Bye for now.